3 months after the readout, we were going to run out of cash and we would go bankrupt. It's like a Hollywood movie. 3 days, we went from maybe we'll go bankrupt to, one of the stars of the Nasdaq.
You're going to listen an extract from a Pharma Mind conversation. Can we go back to this day when you had the readout?
Yes.
You discovered what it makes on the patients?
Yes. Yeah, well, it was really a special day. So I was in the US. Obviously I was, the statistic team had essentially, unblinded the data the day before. And I had told my head of statistics to send me a message when I could come into the office to know the result. But so it was actually a Saturday morning, and I said, please text me when I need to come in. And so he texted me, and on the text there was actually nothing except sunshine. So I thought that's probably a good sign. That means at least we made a statistical significant outcome. But what I didn't know is how shiny would be the sun. And so when I came in, he showed me with the team these results. And what was amazing is our placebo-corrected effect was 16% in those two studies, compared to 12% in the phase 2b. So in other words, we had a more efficacious drug, in phase 3 than in phase 2. And in the history of drug development, that happens very, very rarely. So I don't know, I don't have the statistics, but it's extremely rare. So the level of surprise was, beyond expectation, because I thought, the best case was 12% to be pretty much at the same level of the phase 2b, because that was part of, the changes we made in the design of the phase 3. But we had basically overpassed any expectation. So it was fantastic. And then on the safety side, it didn't seem to have, really material adverse events that would, pretty much the same as the phase. We saw, some headaches, early on the first week, but the last, couple of days, you take Tylenol and you're all good. And the rest there was no incidence of really any major manifestation of side effects on anything. So, there are obviously some one-off patients that develop certain conditions, but there were no signals of anything. So it was just an absolutely incredible time. And then as a result, so I called my CFO, I called my head of IR. I said, initially we had planned to take a week to review the data, to prepare the thing and do basically the financial communication the following weekend. And what we did is we accelerated everything. I said we need to have a board meeting, on Sunday night. So so within a day we had to put all the slides together. So people were literally days and night. And we did the communication on essentially on Monday night. And on Tuesday, the stock was traded. We actually blocked, respectively, for 45 minutes the Euronext, our quotation on Euronext, because there was too much demand. And then when the Nasdaq opened, the same thing happened for nearly, I think it was a bit less, 30 minutes. There was too much demand on the stock, and the stock went up that day by 600%. And 600%, no stock on the Nasdaq has ever done that. So it was for us, it was like, it's like a Hollywood movie. Is it true? Is it, what happens is just beyond expectation. So within, I would say, 3 days, we went from maybe we'll go bankrupt if the study doesn't work to, one of the stars of the Nasdaq, at least for the year. So that was the situation. And then on Tuesday night, because since we were listed on the French market, we could not raise what we wanted to do our follow on the same day, the first day of quotation. So we had to wait basically 24 hours per the regulation in the Euronext. But that night, so we had, with our syndicate of banks, we started the process to raise money. So we said, we want to raise. Initially, we thought 200, and we said, well, probably 400 given the stock price reaction. And then what was another sort of extraordinary set of events, within 3 hours, we raised 750 million, and we had, essentially more than 3 billion in demand. So we had to, my team actually spend more time that night to allocate the amount of money that the funds, wanted to. Obviously, we were not able to meet. Well, we had basically, from I think it was actually 3.5 ultimately to 750. So we had to divide pretty much everything by 4 or by 5, to allocate to. So they spend, my CFO, my head of AR with the banks worked probably until 2:00 in the morning to allocate, what could be given, out of the 750 million to all these big funds. Some funds, just to give you an idea, wanted to invest 300 million. So this was just a massive, a massive event for us, and like a kind of a dream. And but the good thing is we got the money, and now we can carry on and execute again the maintenance, finish this essentially 1-year study. I would say restart the Crohn's program, because Crohn's, we put it a bit on the side, because again, we put all our money on AppTech. We're focused on AppTech because we knew if AppTech doesn't this phase 3 in UC didn't work, would be dead, right? So now Crohn's, now we are doing also preclinical experiments in with combination therapy with other drugs. So we'll report them early next year. And also we are trying to figure out, how to develop a next generation compound. So,
okay.
yeah.
But yes, crazy week.
It was a crazy week. Yes.
No sleep.
No sleep for a while. Actually, even the following 2 weeks we had a lot of demand, and it's still today. It's just incredible the level of interest we have. But not only from investors. The day before yesterday, I was with University of California, and they already want to prepare the launch for 4 million patients. Their doctors, so when they saw the data we presented in Berlin, are so interested. They say this drug could become the standard of care in ulcerative colitis. So they, a year and a half before launch, they really want to work with us to prepare. Everything. So it's obviously pretty spectacular.
You need to get used to the normal thing to pass to this. Okay. And I think, yes, talking about this week, I think there is kind of also a good communication drive, or why did you decide to present it so rapidly during the night? Is it a matter also of I don't know?
No, it's a materiality. I think
why?
The risk was that given the quality of the data, you have obviously to make sure, because we are a publicly traded company, we didn't want to have any leaks.
Okay, someone to
someone
invest in
that
this.
would get a bit overly excited. We would speak to someone to say, oh, by the way, they get great data, and then so it was really driven by compliance. Compliance. So you need to. So
compliance. You cannot wait to.
No, because you have 2 days max. By the time you get very material information, you have 2 days to communicate it to the market when you're a public company. So we were kind of, but the decision, obviously, to convoke the board, was to address that point, because I was afraid that my team would be so excited that they would start to speak. Yeah.
And you knew what did you expect with instead of what happened?
What did I expect in terms of
yes, of I don't know, of a reaction, of amount or reactions?
Well, yeah, I think it surpassed our expectations, because for example, in terms of fundraising,
you let the market decide.
Yes, sure, but we thought we could raise again. The week before, we thought we would raise 200 million. When we saw the data, we looked, we thought we will raise 400 million. And then when actually we went, it was nearly double that, and we could have raised more. So, but then there is also a question of dilution as well, and the board had set basically sort of a max to raise. So, but 750 million was obviously fantastic. In the history of Nasdaq, on biotech, it's in the top 10.
Biotech, yes. Yes.
It's in the history. And obviously in France, it's the largest. So this was just already a pretty spectacular fundraise.
You can watch the full episode for the complete conversation. The link is below. And subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for the next excerpts.